Welcome. Take a deep breath and let the noise of the present slip softly into the background. Tonight, we are traveling far back in time, tens of thousands of years back, to a world very different from the one you know. A world where ice covered much of the earth, where humans lived in small, wandering bands, and survival depended on the simplest things: warmth, food, and the shelter of one another. Imagine yourself lying beneath a great, dark sky. Above you, the stars stretch endlessly, clear and sharp in the frozen night. Around you, the air is cold and still, except for the faint crackle of a distant fire. This is the Ice Age, the Pleistocene, the final and most recent of Earth's great glacial periods. In this long, slow journey, we will explore what it might have been like to live during that time. First, we will step into the daily life of an Ice Age hunter-gatherer, feeling the weight of their routine and the challenges of the cold. Then we will follow the story of a mammoth hunting band, tracking their prey across a frozen plain. After that, we will look at the mysteries left behind, the cave paintings, the carved figurines, the strange evidence of early belief. And finally, we will shift our view to a different side of Ice Age life, the leaders of these small groups, the ones who carried the responsibility of decision-making and survival for their people. So, find a comfortable position, slow your breathing, and let yourself drift back into a time before cities, before writing, before the world warmed. The sun has not yet risen. The air is still and heavy with frost. You are lying on a bed of animal skins in the shelter of a rock overhang. The fire that burned through the night has cooled to glowing embers, casting a faint, red light. The smell of smoke lingers on your hair, in the furs, in everything you own. You sit up, and the cold reaches you immediately. Your breath becomes a cloud. There is no door to close, no window to shut. Only the thin walls of the shelter and the rising wind. Every morning begins like this. Before anything else, someone must coax the fire back to life. Dry moss, birch bark, and patience. This is the first task. Without the fire, the cold would settle into your bones. Food is always the next thought. Hunger is constant here, a dull ache that never fully leaves. You do not have fields to harvest or barns to raid. Each day's meal must be found, and some days there is nothing at all. The group gathers what is left from the night before. A few scraps of dried meat, perhaps a handful of stored roots. These are shared carefully, equally, because every member of the band matters. When the sun finally rises, its light is pale and distant. You wrap yourself in furs and step out into the world. The ground crunches beneath your feet. In every direction, the land is wide and bare. The trees here are sparse and short, shaped by the long winters. Today, the hunters will try to track game. This is a slow, patient work. You kneel, searching the ground for signs. A print in the snow, a broken branch. Hours pass in silence. You walk until your feet ache. If you find nothing, you turn to other tasks, gathering firewood, sharpening tools, scraping hides with stone blades so that they stay soft and usable. The work is hard, but there is a rhythm to it. There are dangers, too, always present, though they are not always visible. A predator might be stalking nearby. A sudden storm could sweep through. The cold itself is an enemy. At night, if the fire fails, frostbite can take fingers, toes, or life itself. Yet there are moments of stillness that hold their own quiet beauty. As the day ends, you sit near the fire once more. Someone tells a story, their voice calm and low. The stars above are so clear they seem close enough to touch. You lie back, close your eyes, and feel the warmth of the fire on your face, the ground hard beneath you, the cold air against your skin. This was the rhythm of life for thousands of years. Wake with the dawn, work for survival, share what you have, sleep when darkness falls, day after day, season after season. The air is still, and the morning is quiet. You're standing with a small group, perhaps a dozen people, at the edge of a wide, frozen plain. The sun is low, pale and weak, casting long shadows across the snow. Your breath rises like smoke. This is a day for hunting. The hunters are quiet, each of them wrapped in furs, their spears tipped with flint. They carry throwing sticks, slings, and heavy stone tools. The work ahead will be long and tiring. For many days, the group has been following tracks, moving carefully across the tundra, looking for signs of a herd. Imagine walking for hours across a frozen landscape. The snow crunches softly beneath your feet. The world is so still that you can hear the distant call of a bird or the groan of ice as the wind shifts. The hunters travel light. A few dried strips of meat, water frozen in a skin bag, tools for making fire. Every step must count. The group spreads out, searching for fresh tracks. They look for crushed grass beneath the snow, for dung that still steams in the cold air, for the broad, heavy prints of mammoths. Finally, they find what they have been seeking, a trail leading into a low valley. It is wide, deep, and unmistakable. The herd cannot be far. Now the hunters must become even quieter. They move carefully, using the wind and the lay of the land to stay downwind, to avoid being smelled. Hours pass like this. The sun rises a little higher and then begins to sink again. Finally, you see them. Shapes in the distance moving slowly across the plain. A small herd of woolly mammoths. They are immense creatures towering above the scrubby grass and dwarf pines. Their coats are thick and shaggy, their curved tusks long and pale. They move slowly, pulling up frozen grasses with their trunks, dusting the snow from the ground. The hunters wait. They watch. They choose carefully. They do not want to frighten the entire herd away. They must find one animal that is old, weak, or injured, one they can bring down without losing their lives in the attempt. When the moment comes, it is not quick. The hunters work together, driving the chosen animal towards soft ground or a trap if one has been prepared. They shout, wave torches, throw stones to guide its path. Spears are thrown from a distance, not to kill, but to wound, to weaken. This is exhausting work. The hunt may go on for hours, even days. It is dangerous too. A mammoth can charge, swinging its tusks, and scatter the hunters. One wrong step could mean injury or death. But if the hunt succeeds, the reward is great. The animal's meat will feed the entire group for many days. Its hide will be turned into warm clothing and shelter. Its bones may be used for tools or even as a frame for tents. Nothing will be wasted. When the animal finally falls, there is no shouting, no celebration. The hunters move forward carefully, making sure it is over. Then the work begins, cutting, hauling, preserving. The smell of blood fills the cold air, sharp and heavy. The ground beneath the animal is trampled, darkened. It is a solemn task, done with respect. The hunters may speak a few words to the spirit of the animal, a quiet ritual of thanks. Some groups leave offerings, a piece of food, a decorated spear point, as if to ask for good fortune in future hunts. By the time the work is done, night has fallen. The group returns to camp, weary but alive, carrying what they can. Fires are lit. The first strips of meat are roasted over the flames, the fat sizzling and crackling. Children gather close, drawn by the smell and the warmth. Tomorrow, the work will continue, curing hides, drying meat, scraping bones. But tonight, there is food and warmth and safety. This was the cycle again and again across thousands of years. Tracking, waiting, risking everything, and sometimes failing, sometimes returning empty-handed. Survival was never guaranteed, and yet, generation after generation, people endured. The mammoth herds would one day disappear. The world would grow warmer, but for now, in this frozen age, they are life itself. The night is quiet again. The hunt is over, the fire burns low, and your thoughts drift toward another kind of human activity, one that is slower, quieter, and yet no less important for survival. Imagine that you are following a small group into the darkness of a cave. The entrance is narrow, cool air flowing out of it like a breath. Inside, it is pitch black, but someone carries a torch. Its light flickers across the walls, making the shapes seem to move. You must crawl at first, squeezing through narrow tunnels, feeling the cold stone under your hands. The smell is earthy, damp. When the passage opens into a larger chamber, you stand up slowly, and then you see them. Shapes, lines, colors. Paintings of animals cover the walls. Aurochs, horses, stags. Some are small and faint, others enormous, stretching across the stone surface. Their forms are surprisingly graceful, as though they were drawn by someone who had watched these creatures very carefully. This is Lascaux, one of the most famous painted caves in the world. It lay hidden for thousands of years until 4 young boys discovered it in 1940. When they first stepped inside, they must have felt the same stillness you feel now, the same sense of stepping into a place that was special, perhaps even sacred. Archaeologists believe the paintings are around 17,000 years old. They were made using natural pigments: red ochre, yellow iron oxide, black charcoal. The painters would grind the minerals into powder, mix them with water or animal fat, and blow them through hollow bones to create a fine mist, leaving outlines and shading on the walls. Some of the figures are drawn with astonishing skill. The animals seem to move as the torchlight flickers, heads lowered, legs mid-step, horns curving. There are no landscapes, no skies, only animals powerful and alive. No one knows exactly why they were painted. Perhaps they were meant to record the world around them, to teach the young about the creatures they would one day hunt. Perhaps they were part of a ritual, an offering, a prayer for success, or a way to connect with spirits. In one chamber, known as the Hall of the Bulls, the animals are so large that they seem to surround you. Some are more than 5 meters long. You can imagine a group of painters working here, their torchlight dancing, the sound of their quiet voices echoing softly off the stone. There is a feeling standing in such a place that you are witnessing not just art, but thought. A glimpse into the mind of someone who lived in a world so different from yours, and yet someone who also felt awe, wonder, fear, someone who wanted to leave a mark. Lascaux is not the only cave like this. Across Europe there are other sites: Chauvet, Altamira, Pec Merle, each with its own collection of animals, symbols and mysteries. Together, they remind us that even in the harshest times, humans sought to create something beautiful. When you leave the cave, blinking in the pale daylight, the world seems just a little changed. The tundra stretches before you, the wind blows softly, and you know that somewhere long ago, someone stood in this very place and decided to leave behind a memory on stone. The sky is grey, and a faint wind moves across the plain. The fire has been rekindled, smoke drifting into the early light. In the small camp, one figure rises before the others. This is the leader, not a king or a chief in the way you might imagine, but the person whose judgment the group trusts. Their authority is quiet, built on years of experience, wisdom, and the ability to keep everyone alive. The leader moves slowly through the camp, checking the fires, the hides stretched for drying, the stores of dried meat. They pause to look at the horizon, scanning for weather, for danger, for the movements of the herds. Their role is not one of command, but of guidance. When disputes arise, they are the one who listens. When decisions must be made, whether to stay or to move on, all eyes turn to them. Imagine what it feels like to carry that weight. Each choice matters. If they lead the group to poor hunting grounds, hunger will follow. If they fail to notice a storm coming, lives could be lost. Through the day, the leader speaks little, listening more than talking. They sit with the elders, sharing thoughts in low voices. They speak with the hunters, asking what tracks they have seen. They watch the children play, knowing that their future depends on what is decided today. Meals are eaten together. There is no separate tent, no throne, no crown. The leader eats the same roasted meat, drinks the same melted snow water. But they sit at the center of the circle, where everyone can see them. At times, they may lead rituals, simple offerings of food placed at the edge of the camp, or words spoken to the spirits of animals and ancestors. These moments are not loud or grand, but quiet, almost whispered, as though the whole group is breathing together. When night falls and the fire burns steady, the leader speaks again. This time it is to share a story, perhaps a memory of a past hunt, a story of an ancestor who crossed the mountains, or a warning of what dangers lie ahead. The children listen, wide-eyed. The adults nod silently, each remembering the times they have seen such things. In the leader's heart, there may be fear of making the wrong choice, fear of what the world might bring tomorrow, but that fear is not shown. Instead, they sit calmly, their face lit by firelight, their voice slow and measured. And so, as the stars wheel above, the camp settles down. People sleep more easily knowing someone is watching, someone is thinking of tomorrow. The leader remains awake a little longer, staring into the embers, listening to the night sounds. There is a kind of peace in this moment, a stillness that connects you not just to the leader, but to the whole chain of people who have done this before, stretching back thousands of years. Conclusion: the fire is nearly out now. The night is quiet. We have traveled far in this journey, across frozen plains, into dark caves, and through the slow rhythm of life in the Ice Age. We have hunted mammoths, watched the first artists at work, and sat beside the one who bears the weight of decisions. As you return to the present, notice the warmth of your own room, the softness of your bed, the safety of your shelter. You do not have to track herds for days or wake to find the fire gone out. The world has changed, but some things remain the same. The need for food, for stories, for leaders, for a place to rest. Close your eyes now. Imagine the last sparks of the fire fading, the stars shining cold and clear above. Somewhere in the deep past, a small group of people is sleeping near a fire just like this one. You can almost hear the faint sound of wind, the steady breathing of the camp, the quiet heartbeat of the earth. Let that quiet fill your thoughts. Let the world grow soft, slow, and distant. And when you wake again, the Ice Age will be long gone, but the memory of it will still be with you.